Hey everybody, Mike Slifer here in the First Alert Forecast Center. If you were watching local news live on WFSB Plus before this, you may have noticed Connecticut's or America's first cookbook made in Connecticut. Got a little distracted by the story. We ran that as part of our We the People series, so cool to see it being shared throughout the country. Anyways, we have some weather to discuss. It was a very active start to the day out there, and we ended up with some nice clearing this afternoon. Neil snapped this picture in Old Saybrook. We had some breaks of sunshine, especially once we got a little bit later into the day. We are still tracking just a couple of light showers in northeastern Connecticut right now. First Alert Live radar is scanning the state, showing where those showers are in parts of Tolland County. We are not expecting much from these. As a matter of fact, as they move through Stafford and toward Union, they will likely weaken even more. Just a sprinkle at this point in time. Not nearly the intensity of what we saw this morning, but it was sort of hit or miss. For example, for the Hartford area, as measured at Bradley International, we ended up with 0.29 inches of rain. 66 for the official high today, 58 for the low temperature. We actually are lower than that, so that'll get amended once we get the post-midnight release here. But either way, the story remains the same. We did not really put much of a dent in our deficits that have been building. We do still have a bit of a surplus for the Hartford area, not the case in Bridgeport. Bridgeport actually received even less rain today. Areas in eastern Connecticut were certainly favored. We heard from Roger in Wethersfield, only 0.12 inches, while Paul in New London recorded 1.44 inches. Groton over an inch, Willimantic about 0.8 of an inch. And look at the differences here between, say, Bridgeport, New Haven, Waterbury, Meriden. So it was certainly wetter in the eastern half of the state. In fact, border towns ended up with near or over 2 inches. Unfortunately, the radar in New York was down, so we cannot show you radar estimated rainfall totals because it was not running at the time. So that's the reason why we haven't shown that map and why we didn't show it tonight either. But this still sort of paints a good picture as to where some of the heavier rain fell earlier today. When it came to the strong winds behind that front, inland it was breezy, gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour. Shoreline towns, though, Bridgeport gusted to 39, New Haven gusted to 43, Groton gusted to 38. So it was certainly a little bit windier along the 95 corridor. Thankfully, the wind has subsided a bit. It is still breezy. We still have gusts out there 15 to 25 miles an hour, and we'll see that wind out of the west for the remainder of the night. And this is because we are on the backside of that area of low pressure. So the low itself is currently located to our north, and there's the front extending off of Maine and out over the open ocean with high pressure behind it. And just west of that, well, there's another area of low pressure, and that front is going to cross later this week. And that's what's going to coincide with our next chance for some showers. We'll take you outside right now to our iCam view in Middletown. We can very clearly still see some of the lingering cloudiness, but we do expect skies to clear up a bit overnight tonight. Here's our iCam view right now in Rocky Hill looking north to the Hartford skyline. We cannot see any stars behind the buildings in Hartford. A live look on our iCam in New Haven, where in the distance, if you look especially to the left side of your screen, we can see some of that low cloudiness being lit up. And we'll finish with a live look on our iCam right now in Mystic. Car driving over the Bascule Bridge. We're looking over the Mystic River. And we can certainly see some of the clouds lingering there in the sky. So this is what we are going to be battling here for the next several hours. It's not until later tonight where we actually see a lot of that cloudiness work its way out. There are the showers departing. This is a loop over the last 6 hours. You'll note the thickest clouds have moved away from us too, and all that we have left is a little bit of lingering cloudiness. Those showers to our north are weakening as we've lost our daytime heating, not quite as much instability to sustain them, and we are certainly running a bit cooler than yesterday at this point in time by about 4 to 9 degrees, depending on exactly where you are within the state. A little bit cooler in the western half compared to the eastern half. That means temperatures are about 50 to 55 inland, 55 to 60 closer to the shoreline. This is really not that cool compared to where sometimes we could be at this hour this time of year. But it is still cooler than where we were last night, and that's because last night temperatures didn't really fall much. In fact, it was a little bit muggy out there as we began the day. We'll take you town by town tonight. 39 in Sharon, 40 in Goshen and Norfolk. New Milford tonight, 44. Thomaston, 43. Bristol, 44. Canton, 44. Windsor, 46. Glastonbury, 46. Hebron 44, Storrs 43, Pomfret 46, Plainfield 45. 44 in Colchester and Salem, 45 in Uncasville, 48 in Old Saybrook, but closer to 50 in Madison to Brantford, 45 in Durham and Portland, 44 in Naugatuck, 48 in Milford. So you certainly want to send your kids out to the bus stop tomorrow with a jacket, but they will not need it the entire day. Recess will be outside, 55 to 60 degrees. And then for the ride home, we are looking at mid-60s and a lot of sunshine. Mid and upper 60s, seasonably warm for this time of year. We'll feel great out there with pretty much full sunshine in the early afternoon. That starts to change later in the day. The breeze begins to pick up out of the south, and this is out ahead of that approaching front. Will become breezy as the day goes on tomorrow. Gusts 15 to 20 miles an hour, so really nothing too impactful. There are the wind arrows out of the south, and we start to see the clouds build in around sunset tomorrow. Just as a point of reference, tomorrow is our final 6 p.m. sunset of the year. As the day goes on, 11 o'clock in the evening, there are the rain showers, so we'll see rain develop, and these showers will move through overnight into the pre-dawn hours on Wednesday, clearing out during when the roads are going to be busiest on Wednesday morning, which is good. The rain has been trending earlier. Hopefully that trend continues, so most of this falls overnight. In other words, we never expected to be as impactful as what we dealt with this morning, but no need for a first alert weather day, and then we'll dry things out as the day goes on, maybe an isolated pop-up shower. If you wanted to get a head start on some of the leaf drop we've seen and clean the leaves a bit tomorrow, it'll be dry tomorrow, just a bit breezy in the afternoon. So we're saying fair conditions. But we're going with poor conditions on Wednesday because rain is likely in the first half of the day. Your leaves will be wet, they'll be damp. Wind gusts 20 miles an hour will also make it more difficult for your cleanup. You can see the strongest gusts on Wednesday will occur in the afternoon. And again, we're expecting gusts 20 miles an hour or so. Wind will be shifting to be more westerly as the day goes on Wednesday. And we'll dry things out, allowing temperatures to peak in the lower half of the 60s. So low and mid 60s out there, which is seasonable for this time of year, even a couple degrees above normal. And thankfully, we really don't have much ragweed to contend with. Pollen counts are going to be manageable over the next 3 days, but they'll be at their lowest point on Thursday. Foliage across the state is looking great. New map from Explore Fall today shows near peak foliage in northwestern and northeastern Connecticut, but the rest of the state still sees moderate to high amounts of color. It is great out there. It should be great through the weekend if you want to get out and enjoy. We are battling some breezy conditions over the next few days, and that could help to bring a bit more in the way of leaf drop, but still, there should be plenty to get out there and enjoy. In the tropics right now, there's a disturbance in the Caribbean Sea, and that is a high chance of actually becoming named here in the next 48 hours, let alone the next 7 days. If and when that becomes named, we'll be the first to alert you. And our next name on the list here is Melissa, so we'll be watching that very closely. First Alert 7-day forecast shows that temperatures are expected to drop gradually as the week goes on. 67 Tuesday, tomorrow, 63 on Wednesday, 60 on Thursday. Showers late tomorrow, lasting into Wednesday, and then we'll start to dry things out. Friday, 58, and then we're into the 30s, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and Monday morning. Along the shoreline, 66 tomorrow, 64 on Wednesday, 61 on Thursday, into the upper 50s for highs Friday, Saturday, and then by Sunday, we're talking mid-50s statewide, mid and upper 50s Monday next week. We'll keep things dry Monday. But the 8 to 14-day outlook here, which brings us from the 28th into the start of November. So this encompasses Halloween and the weekend of Halloween and shows these shades of green, indicating that perhaps things will be a bit wetter than normal. So we'll be watching very closely. Of course, we still have a lot of lead time here, but the signal is there for maybe a more unsettled pattern, but also leaning that we may stay a little bit milder than normal too. So we'll be watching all of this very closely. And as we mentioned earlier in this First Alert Weather Extra, tomorrow is our final 6 o'clock sunset of the year. If you like the longer days, the later sunsets, well, enjoy them, because not only do we have the 5 o'clock hour sunsets headed our way, but in a few weeks we'll set the clocks, and we will have those. Actually, it's less than 2 weeks now. We set the clocks, and sunset will be back in the 4 p.m. hour. So just something to keep in mind. We still have about 2 months until the winter solstice, and earliest sunset of the year is 4/19, and that happens around the second week of December. So just where things are headed. Just keeping things realistic here. By the end of the year, those sunsets do get just a touch later beyond the winter solstice. Just something to look forward to, maybe. What doesn't get later, or I guess higher, is the normal high temperature. That keeps on dropping. 57 on the 1st of November, 52 by November 15th, 45 by December 1st, 41 by December 15th. Nothing quite that chilly here on our First Alert 7-day forecast. Seasonably cool for the final weekend of October. Saturday and Sunday really do look like gorgeous days. Plenty of sunshine, not a lot of no wind to be too concerned about, and not really a lot of a chance for frost either in the morning. So chilly mornings, yes, but we're not talking about anything too cold. We will have much more for you coming up on the Wax tonight at 10 and Channel 3 tonight at 11, and you can join Jill Gelati for our next First Alert Weather Extra, streaming live on WFSB Plus and YouTube at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Have a great night, and hope you join us on the Wax in 20.